Good evening to you. I'm Marnie Hughes in Chicago. We want to thank you for joining us for this live web show focusing on the disappearance of a young woman named Maura Murray. Tonight we are going to take a closer look at this case, and Maura's sister, Julie, will be joining us live in just a moment to talk about the renewed effort to investigate the last location Maura was seen. Maura vanished in 2004. She was a college student at UMass at the time. According to her family, she was smart, gifted. She was a talented athlete as well. In 2004, her car was found crashed along a rural road in New Hampshire. And when first responders got there, there was no sign of Maura. And there hasn't been a spotting of her since. Nearly 2 decades after she vanished, we have learned investigators are now returning back to that original scene to look for new clues and also evidence. And they are focusing on that last spot that Maura was seen along that rural road. Correspondent Kelly Beeson here now with more on the renewed search for evidence and the answers Maura's family is determined to get all these years later.
Out of the blue, New Hampshire conducted a massive search for my sister Maura, not far from where she disappeared in 2004.
Dozens of police cars and a mobile command unit parked alongside New Hampshire's Route 112 as officers searched near the place where 21-year-old Maura Murray was last seen in 2004.
My family's encouraged. I'm in constant communication with law enforcement, and I will update here when I can. But this is big.
Maura was a nursing student at UMass Amherst when she disappeared, minutes after crashing her car on that rural road. Coming just days after the launch of Facebook, the case has been labeled the first crime mystery of the social media age.
It's sort of two mysteries. It's why was she going to New Hampshire and what happened to her, combined with the fact that there's really not a lot of clues.
Erin Larkin hosts a podcast about the case. She and Maura were on the UMass track team when Maura suddenly left campus.
She told her professors that there was a family emergency or death in the family and she was going to be away for a few days. And then she got in her car and drove to an ATM off campus and withdrew $280. And then stopped at a liquor store and bought about $40 worth of alcohol.
But there was no death in the family, her parents not knowing anything about her plans. As she headed north on a country road around 7:30 on a Monday night, she lost control on a sharp turn, the car going off the road into a tree. 911 transcripts show a call from a man driving by minutes later. He said she was shaken up and the airbags had deployed with heavy damage, but Maura refused help. By the time an officer arrived, the car was locked and there was no sign of Maura.
I think the most likely thing is that she was picked up by a local who offered her help, perhaps at first, but then something bad happened, and that person is most likely responsible for her disappearance.
After 18 years of searches and candlelight vigils, still no solid leads or answers. Bones discovered last summer turned out not to be Maura's. Now, with her profile finally entered into the FBI database, hope that somewhere, something will turn up.
My hope is that there's a hit somewhere in the country. Some unidentified person, they put in the DNA and they can make that connection. That would be the best case scenario.
And joining me now is Julie Murray. She is the younger sister of Maura Murray. Julie, thank you. And also Erin Larkin is here. To you both. As we discuss this case for folks joining us online, I want to encourage everyone to join in the conversation. You can post your questions below. And as we discuss Maura's disappearance, we'll do our best to our ability to answer some of the questions that you may have. Ladies, this case has garnered national attention over the years, time and time again. Let me start with you, Julie, and really this renewed effort and search in this specific area where your sister was last seen. What sparked this change in the investigation and this focus?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. I truly appreciate it. I think spreading awareness is how cold cases get solved. But I got a call last Wednesday out of the blue from New Hampshire law enforcement, and they said, we're going to do a search for Maura today. So they didn't tell me specifically what sparked it. They said that it wasn't based on new information, but they were going back to check an area that they had searched before.
And did they find anything, to your knowledge?
Well, the ground search concluded that Wednesday, July 13th, but I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing, so I'm not going to comment further on what was or was not discovered during the ground search.
You know, it struck me in that piece, Erin, and this is the second time we've covered this case, what you said, and you've talked about on the podcast that most likely that Maura was picked up by somebody that she didn't know, a local, and something bad happened. What leads you to believe that that's the most likely scenario?
Honestly, what leads me to believe it are the tips that came out early on that Mr. Murray, Julie's dad, Fred, had been fielding for the weeks, months, years following Maura's disappearance. And a lot of them did point to the specific area that's being searched right now. So that's what leads me to believe it. Also, there's no evidence that she was planning any sort of getaway with anyone else. And she obviously wasn't planning the crash. So it seems most likely that she was probably picked up by a local.
We have a question, and either of you can answer this if you have an answer for it, from someone who's watching on YouTube tonight, and they want to know if Maura had a phone on her at the night she disappeared.
Yes, Maura did have a cell phone. It was a Sprint flip phone. However, there was no cell phone service, no signal in that area, and there's no signal even to this day in that area.
Let's spend a little time, and to both of you, and Julie, I'll start with you on just her activities before she vanished. What stands out to you as bizarre or unique, withdrawing money, stopping at the alcohol store, the story that she had told her professors, what we knew about her plan that night, and if anything has evolved in sort of the details of what she was doing?
Well, what stands out to me is the fact that she turned in her homework. She was a nursing student, and she submitted her homework around 3 in the morning to her professors. That's an odd thing to do if you're planning to go disappear forever. So that's always piqued my curiosity. Now, of course, nobody knows why she was going up there, but she did take a number of steps that included that turning in her homework and other things that makes me believe that she was planning to return.
Yeah. Erin, how about this spot where her car was last found? Talk about the location and the search that really focused on one area and not so much east of the accident scene until now.
Yeah, so what we know about this area is that it is a place that law enforcement has conducted extensive searches in the past. And whenever law enforcement repeatedly focuses on one specific area, to me it suggests that there may be some information or evidence that's not public, but that they have that's leading them to believe that there could be something, it's worth devoting their resources to. So one of the tips that came in early on was from a local who had said that he saw a woman that he believed to be Maura, or at least matching her description, walking along the road, and I believe darting off onto a dirt road right in that area. It's this section where two state roads meet, 112 and 116. And so that's what kicked off the first search that I'm aware of. And I don't know how many searches have been conducted in that specific area, but I do think it's notable that it's a place that they've returned to several times.
Mm-hmm. I want to get at it with you, Julie, a little bit about Maura's past. And I was on the website, MauraMurrayMissing.org today, and looking at some of the videos that you've posted. And you spend a lot of time talking about your family, Maura's upbringing, her talents, her interests. But you also talk about some of the poor decisions, particularly as a cadet at West Point, and you wonder if that was a cry for help. Can you elaborate a little bit more about what you knew about Maura's state of mind, and if that at all helps provide clues as to what happened?
Yes, Maura joined me at West Point, and I loved it, and she did not. And she made a number of decisions that indicate to me that she was trying to leave, but didn't want to outwardly quit. So she stole some makeup from a military base, Fort Knox, actually, $5 worth of makeup, right before the year where we had to sign an oath to serve in the military active duty for 5 years. So once you take that oath, you're locked in to 5 years of military service. So I think that was an indication that she just wanted out of there and the military wasn't for her.
Did you ever talk about it with her? Did she ever elaborate on how she was feeling?
Yes, I asked her directly. I said, "Why did you do that?" And she looked at me straight in the eyes and said, "I don't know." She said, "I had the money," and she was embarrassed.
She wanted out. You go on to say once she went to UMass that she also had struggled with eating disorders and some other things. Do you think that at all leaves you questioning whether or not she was wanting to get away, escape, have some time to herself?
Absolutely. I think she put a lot of pressure on herself, and struggling with the eating disorder only exacerbated the issues that she was already having.
Erin, do you know, have there been any suspects over the years, any persons of interest that have led police to believe they're close to some answers?
The New Hampshire State Police have not listed any suspects, and so technically, no. There really aren't any people that I believe that they have a policy that they won't name names, they won't list people. That said, I know that there are some people that have come up over and over again when Mr. Murray's been in the area, and locals will tell him that they think so and so is involved. So there are people on the Murrays and Julie, I'm sure's radar, but not that the New Hampshire State Police have actively outwardly said that this person is a person of interest or a suspect.
The other main key here is this FBI database. I mean, having her case, her information entered into this, and Erin, you said this as well, that you hope that it pings somewhere and that something turns up. Talk to me about what you know about the database. Have they had any luck, any bit of evidence or something that leads them in one direction or another so far?
Yeah, so from what I understand, this is a database that aggregates criminal data from around the country. And Maura's profile was added, I believe, in January. We're not entirely sure why. It was perhaps a little bit overdue, but as far as I know, there hasn't been any outcomes from that yet.
Was there any indication after her crash, Julie, I mean, the airbags deployed, that she was injured at all, disoriented from the witness who was there?
Well, the witness said that he didn't see any blood, but she seemed shaken up. Now, we do know that the windshield was cracked, which may indicate that she hit her head. We do know that there was some red liquid splashed in and around the driver's seats, which may indicate that she was drinking. So drinking possibly hit her head, airbags going off. All of those could put somebody into an altered state of mind where they're not making the best decisions.
You heard Erin's theory earlier, and I'm sure you two are in constant communication. Julie, do you have any theory, any idea what may have happened that you just keep coming back to all these years later?
Well, I keep coming back to foul play based on similar reasons to which Erin described earlier. The fact that there has been no cell phone activity, no bank activity, no credible sightings. She hasn't reached out to anybody in the family, and I think that if she was able to, she would have. So all of those reasons indicate to me that she was picked up.
I think about families in this situation and friends and the unknown that must eat away at you. Julie, you called Maura your best friend. What do you miss most about her? What memories right now do you cherish as you focus on finding her?
I cherish the back and forth constant banter. It was constant with Maura and I. I don't know whether it's a New England thing, but we would constantly talk smack, and that was our way of showing love to each other. I really miss that.
And I want to remind people at home who are watching, and thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for either Aaron or Julie about Maura's disappearance, now is the time. We have a couple more minutes left. Julie, what memory do you cherish, or excuse me, Aaron, what memory do you cherish of Maura?
So I actually don't remember ever seeing, or I was on the track team, but Maura's actually injured when she disappeared. I was a freshman, she was a junior, so I didn't really have any interaction with her. I just remember when she disappeared, it was like this, she was sort of very well known because she was such an amazing runner. And it was big, shocking when she disappeared. So that's what stands out to me.
Yeah, and something like this, the disappearance of a student who was well-liked, who was hardworking, who was athletic and smart, it's scary, and it impacts the whole community. How did you get involved, Aaron, with the podcast? And I know there are a number of podcasts that focus on Maura's disappearance.
Yeah, so I had never been interested in true crime at all. It wasn't anything that I thought to involve myself in. But I remember seeing that there was this other podcast titled Missing Maura Murray, and it just sort of popped up in my Apple podcast feed one day, and I remember thinking, I remember Maura, and so I started listening to it, and the more I listened, the more I sort of started questioning some of the information, and going online and questioning more of the information, and seeing how much was out there that could be easily corrected with someone who had firsthand knowledge about UMass and about some of these other things. So that's how I got involved. It was sort of a mission to correct some of the misinformation that's led to a lot of the online rabbit holes and white noise that we've seen in this case.
There has been a lot of it. So Julie, weigh in on that a little bit. How do you feel about the podcast focusing on your sister? How do you combat the misinformation out there when people run in a certain direction and don't have all the facts, and take the focus away from finding your sister, and it becomes a distraction?
I have no problem with podcasts that are victim-centered, Maura-centered, that deal in facts. The problem arises when people get swept away and obsessed to where they start saying things over and over, and people start believing these things that are written online just based on the mere fact that they're said multiple times. So it's very difficult to try to correct all that misinformation and what I call police the internet, but I try to do my best. And my motto is engage with empathy. Because when we're talking about cases like this, we're talking about real people, real families left behind in the wake of these tragedies that are flawed and multidimensional. And if we go at it from the angle of engaging with empathy, we can cut out some of the re-traumatization that occurs in a lot of these cases.
Well, and in addition to the podcast, I mentioned this a little while ago, but Maura's case has been all over the headlines. Major networks have covered it over the years. Has that resulted in any promising leads? And when somebody does a special, this is our second time to visit the case, does it spark more interest? Do you get more tips coming in as a result?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said at the beginning, awareness is what solves cold cases. So there's going to be some trolls that are going to pop their heads in with the increased coverage, but the good is going to outweigh the bad. And when Maura's in the news, we get tons of new tips, new leads, and for my family, renewed hope.
Yeah, and some optimism that she's out there and that you guys are relentless in finding her. It really made me sad, Julie, to read about your mom today passing away in 2009 on Maura's birthday. I know that had to have been difficult for the whole family, for her dying not knowing what had happened to Maura. How has this impacted each one of your family members, your siblings, your dad?
Well, when Maura went missing, it changed our lives completely, forever. And we live alongside this ambiguous loss with never knowing. We're constantly in a gray area. Nothing in my life can be black or white, because it's this ambiguity that just surrounds my family. And so we do our best to try to live alongside of that, but it's constantly there.
Yeah. Aaron, how about you? When the case gets some added attention, how do you approach it in your podcast, and what is your focus in trying to help the family and those who love and care for Maura to get the answers that they need?
Well, like Julie said, I think, it's always good when there's attention on a cold case like this, because the reality of like what solves these cases is relationships change over time, and people may not have the same sort of fears and loyalties or the same dynamics in a relationship that they had in 2004 that may have caused them to stay quiet. So anytime that there's increased or enhanced attention on the case, I think it's a good thing, because all it takes is one person to see a program like this and have their memory jogged and come forward that might, and perhaps provide that missing piece of the puzzle that can help solve this case.
Yep.
So I think it's a good thing.
It just takes one. Julie, I'm going to give you the final word here before we sign off. Anything else you want to say about your sister, the case, the investigation, anything at all on your mind tonight?
I'm just really encouraged, because I know how lucky my family is to have the massive search that occurred on Wednesday for essentially a cold case. It's going on 2 decades, and the love and support that I've gotten from the community, both online and offline, has been amazing. And I wouldn't be where I am and be able to do what I do without that love and support, and people that support me, such as Aaron, going through this journey and this gray, ambiguous loss struggle that I go with every day. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, well, I thank you both for coming on, and I hope you'll both come back when you have some updates on the case, on the ongoing and renewed search, and anything else that sheds some light on Maura's disappearance. To you both, Julie and Aaron, thank you for your time. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any information on the disappearance of Maura Murray, her picture again on your screen, please contact the New Hampshire State Police or the FBI. We've got details for both on the screen right now. As always, we want to thank you for joining us as we continue our missing series here at NewsNation every Wednesday night. We'll see you back here next Wednesday for another case.